This is 7th Circle Gaming, and today on the channel we are going to be analyzing, as per the title card, the game Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Now we will start off the video, as we always do around here, with a bit of full disclosure. And as ever, you are invited to pause the video and read through all of these disclosures at your leisure. But if that isn't really your thing, just let the video run and we'll get into the first chapter in a moment. This is going to be something of a different video, so if you're not interested in watching any of the analysis and would prefer to jump right to the overall score, please direct your browser to the timestamp on the screen now. Before we get to the gameplay footage, we are going to talk very briefly about the overworld of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. The game is set in the US city of Seattle, Washington, which is distinct from the city of Seattle, Texas, in that it actually exists. The in-game world of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is not overly large. We would estimate that it takes no more than approximately 5 minutes to journey from north to south or east to west on the in-game world. That's all for the overworld map, so let's now move on and take a closer look at the world of the game, and we'll also discuss the user interface. From what we can see here, we notice immediately that the game is set in the modern world. We don't see anything terribly unusual. Cars look like cars, and buildings look like buildings that we might recognize. The user interface is minimalistic, restraining itself to occupying primarily the edges of the screen, leaving the majority of the play space free to render the in-game world. Starting off at the lower left-hand corner of the screen, where we have our inventory indicators, followed by an icon for our current faction, as well as the character health indicator. At the bottom right-hand corner of our screen, we have the cooldown timers. At the upper left-hand corner of our screen, we have the currently selected mission indicator. At the top center of the screen is the wanted level indicator. In-game footage we have on this particular video, so let's move on to our first proper chapter and discuss immersion. Here the game has earned a score of 12.5 out of 15. Based on all of our evaluation sessions, the game seems to rely primarily on story, challenge, player agency, and presentation for creating immersion, although in this particular game, nothing really stands out over any of the other methods for generating immersion. Moving on now to difficulty, where the game has earned a score of 3 out of 15. We would be remiss if we did not point out that when we started analyzing the game, the default difficulty setting was casual, but that has recently changed to easy. You can see here what we believe the changes or what the effects of that change are. For lasting appeal, the game has earned a score of 6 out of 15. We do not expect the game to have mod support through any reputable sources. The game is expected to have downloadable content eventually. At present, for lasting appeal, we're looking at retrying the game on different difficulty settings, retrying the game in a different faction, attempting to make different choices, some sort of player-defined challenge, or simply attempting to acquire all of the achievements. And now the part that you've all been waiting for, the overall score. Overall, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has earned a score of 7.16 out of 15, almost an average score. We note that the game requires installation on an SSD. We do believe, based on all of our evaluation sessions, that the game neither favors a mouse and keyboard nor a gamepad. And that's all the objectivity we can manage for this particular video, so let's get out the salt and get subjective. Before we get to all of the elephants in the room that are currently staring at us, we're going to say that possibly as a result of our prior experience with the franchise, we have thoroughly enjoyed the game, although there are some differences to when we last experienced anything else in the franchise. Back then, the Banu Hakim were known as Assamites, and the La Sombra were quite content to have nothing whatsoever to do with the Camarilla. Thank you very much. And now let's get back to all the elephants in the room. So now let's turn our attention back to all the elephants in the room. This game has been in development with one studio or another for approximately 10 years. So all things considered, we should be somewhat pleased that we got anything at the end of that development cycle. That said, is this the game that we might have wanted? No, it isn't. There's other studios that we might have wished got the license, be it Larian, Arcane, or CD Projekt Red. Let us know what your preferred studio would be in the comments section below. Character customization is limited. We don't even have the ability to rotate the character around to see what they might look like from behind or from the side, which is something of a shortcoming. But as a consequence of that development decision, the NPCs are able to react with unique voice lines depending on the player character's appearance. But is that necessarily a fair trade? Not really. Not if you're looking for an open world, fully customizable player character. Writing, on the other hand, is pretty good, with some exceptions. The Nosferatu character is obviously a discount Deadpool. Setting the game so emphatically as they did in the year 2024 is going to date it very quickly. But as we said earlier, we're very pleased to have anything and to have a game that is so accurate, or feels so accurate to the lore of Vampire the Masquerade. Before we leave you, there is one question left to answer. Is this a game that is going to introduce new players to the franchise, or is this a game that is mostly for players that are already fans of the franchise? And that's a difficult question to answer because for players that are already fans of the franchise, there's a lot of lore dumping at the start of the game that they aren't going to need. But players that are not already fans of the franchise may find the amount of lore that they have to absorb very quickly overwhelming. And so, if you are watching this video for purchasing advice, our suggestion to you is that do go ahead and pick it up if you are a fan of the franchise, and play the game on casual difficulty and enjoy the story rather than the combat. If you are very curious, the answer to which clan that we played is Ventru.